So in this part, which is part 3 of the overlapping donut chart, first thing what I would like to do here is making the hover effect nice, that we highlight the specific slice we're hovering on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here and then just copy all of this, put it down here, and then we say here instead of border, I will say here hover background color. And I'm going to make sure that this is a solid color, and if I copy all of that, put it down here, another one, but of course with the matching color for B, and then we're going to do the same thing here, but with the matching color for slice C. If I save that, refresh, and hover over the item, as you can see here, this starts to look nice. Of course, as you can see as well here, this is the reason why we want to make sure that the slice, the smallest slice will be the first data set, and the largest slice will be the last data set, as you can see in here, because else it will overlap in a very well, I'm not sure pleasant, but it's not in the most desirable way. This is the best way, especially once we're going to put in here the numbers. So now we have that, and that was just a tiny visual adjustment. We're going to work on the next part here. We have this before the data sets, but now we're going to work on after the data sets draw. And the reason for this is we're going to make sure that we have the text on there, which are like data labels, but then our own version, not from the plugin. So what I want to do here is to say plugins, and then we're going to put in here, and we'll be using a lot of the upper code that we have here. We have here the slice, the radius, and the data here. I'm going to grab all of this and just apply it here. Then what I'm going to do is we're going to start drawing the text. And remember I told you about the outer radius with the calculation. This knowledge will be now very useful for the positioning, figuring out here the positioning, because that's the quite tricky one. So to do this, the first thing what we have to do is grabbing the text or creating some text. So we're going to say ctx.save, and then in the canvas we're going to start drawing. We're going to say font, and let's make this bold, 12 or let's say 15 pixels. That would be nice. So it's nice big sans serif, which is the official font family that Chart.js use by default, and the default font size is 12. So then what I want to do is I want to say here the color. I'm going to say here fill style, and we can make this black, but you could use any color you want. You can even use the colors of the items here, but I don't recommend it because it will blend in here. So you should have a different color, maybe a white color or black. I'll use black, that is more than enough. Next thing what I want to do is I want to make sure now we have the text. I'm going to say ctx.fill text, and then we're going to put in here the text. So here we'll have, let's do some dummy text for now. Let's say here ABC. Then we have here the x and y coordinates. So the x and y coordinates will be, well, we have to look exactly, we have to figure out how can we get this point here, the x and y coordinate. So for that, we need to do some advanced calculations. So first of all, how do we get those? We're going to start here. Well, if I do just a default 100 by 100 and I save that, it will just be in here. So what we're going to do is, well, we will be using the formulas from Pythagoras. However, the first thing we have here is like the standard 100 by 100. What we want to do is we want to start from the center and then calculate the angle here and the circumference and all of these. The Pythagoras formula will help us. First thing what we need to do is we need to make sure that we have this here as the very center, but this center value right now, well, what is it? We can get it here quickly by finding this here. So let me just show you. And then I'm going to talk about translate. This is a very useful item to understand. So I'm going to put that in there, remove this, save that, refresh, open up the developer tab. And now you can see here we get the x and y coordinates, which is basically the x and y center here. So what I can do here is if I say here .x, save, we will get the 350. Well, I guess we can say here this, constant, the x center equals this, but then I will also get the y center. And You don't have to worry about it regarding with the other data sets because they all start from the center here. So if I copy this, put it in here, save that, you can see here this works nicely. But this here, then we have the outer radius. If we want to go up here, we would be basically have to do like that and we move up. This will be very confusing with the formula. So what I want to do is I want to say that this X and Y center will be set to 0. And there will be then a new 0 point here. So what we're going to do here is the following. We have the save. This is very important. Then what I'm going to do here is say ctx.translate. And then we're going to say our X and Y center that we have defined will be now the new 0 point. So basically if I say 0, 0, and if I save this, but I need to make sure before I save this, I do a restore. And the reason why is, or else we get this round effect. I'm going to show you that later on. But if I do this, refresh, you can see now this is the new 0 point instead of here. This is very important. If you don't do the restore, you get this kind of crazy animation. Because of the animation, it loops through this multiple times. So make sure you have the restore. And in the next video, we're going to start to calculate with the Pythagoras formula the X and Y position here of every of these donut slices.